Alright, you're gonna jack it up. I got my little piece of wood here. These are ATE brakes. There are no circlips on here. And it says ATE right here. You might be able to see that. Anyway, this is what the backs of them look like. Pads are just about done. Rotors are done. Now we're going to take off these caliper bolts. Here's the bottom one. Here's the top one. They're torqued to about 115 foot-pounds. And what size are they? I think they're 19. It's going to be 3/4 inch for those of us in America. Brake line, already did the steel brake line a few months ago. I should have done all this at the same time. This is 14 millimeter. This guy over here is 11 millimeters. And these, is that right? Yeah, that's right. No, 14, yeah, 14 and 11. These guys, 14 millimeters right here, they just split the caliper in half. You don't want to mess with them. There's 2 up top and 2 on the bottom. Those caliper bolts that hold it on are torqued to 116 foot-pounds. So I'm going to take all that off. Right, shout out to PB. This stuff is great. I'm going to spray some of this on those caliper bolts before taking it off. Alright, I got that caliper off there. I got some Mighty Vac. It comes with some of these, I think they're supposed to be plugs from this way, but I just screw it up in there and screw it until it stops. And that holds the brake fluid in there pretty good. There's this little part that goes on the other side here. And just holds a little tension on that connection. And I always put a little thing on there so I don't forget it. But basically it's just those 2 caliper bolts and the brake line. Alright, now let's take this cap off. You see this thing? This is on the driver's side. This is the Speedo Cable. And we're gonna take this guy, just kind of pop it, the edge, pop it, spin it around, keep popping it until it comes off. There's your axle nut and your washer, and there's a little Speedo cable. It's not attached to the cap at all. It's just square and it fits through the hole. So if it seems like it's getting caught, you can just kind of push on it, shove it in there, or you can just pull the cap off and it should come off without any problem. At least that's how it is on mine. Now I'm just gonna try to unpeen this nut. It's peen in a couple places. I'm gonna try to bend that back and then take this thing off of here. Alright, this is what I mean when I say unpeen it. There's a couple of spots around this nut where there's a little indentation. You do the peen by taking your screwdriver and smacking it so that it doesn't spin. To unpeen it, you can just get something in here and give it a few good whacks with your hammer and deform it back out again. Spread it out so that you can then rotate it. This is a 27 millimeter nut. Alright, well, anyway, here's what this looks like without the threads on it. It's got these slots in the top and the side and the bottom, and that's where you can peen it. And I think it's important to try to unpeen it, because when you rotate it, if you just real hard, you just crank it off there, you're potentially going to screw up these threads. And the nut versus the hub, the nut is probably going to win, and the hub, you might destroy these threads. So anyway, I think that's why these grooves are so deep, so you can stick something in there and jam it and unpeen it. Here's this thrust washer. I'm going to save this. That nut you're going to throw away. You're going to, I don't know, call your VW guy and get some more of those, a couple more of those nuts. And now we're going to put this over there. Now we can pull this guy off, and there's the inside bearing, and the outside bearing's on the other side. Might as well just pull it off. What the hell? Put this somewhere clean, put it in there. Alright, let's go not great. That's pretty brown. Other side was not as brown, but the other side also doesn't have the hole in the dust cover, or whatever you want to call that, for the thing. On the other side, that was all real pink. Hopefully that's not a sign of my bearings being shot, because they're relatively new bearings. Alright, I probably could have done this on the car, but I didn't. I'm gonna knock this, I'm gonna take these, whatever they're called, brake pads out by knocking these pins out. And you just take a hammer, knock it out. A screwdriver, bam, comes out this side. Spring comes out, pads come out. And then I'm gonna compress one of the pistons with a vise here, probably one on either side. Stuff's gonna squirt out. Gonna compress it and then hook it back up to the brake line and pump the brakes a couple times to pop the piston out of the other side. So yeah, I'll try and explain that a little more clearly. So here's my setup for knocking it out. I just put the thing up there, put a little thing, whatever. Knock it like that. Now I'm gonna take this long skinny screwdriver that I've always hated and knock it out all the way. And we'll see. So there it is. Apparently, friction is all that keeps that in here, which is a little weird. And then pull the pins out, pull the spring out, pull the pads out. In theory, at least. Alright, so I pull the pads out, and here's the pistons. Just a little piston boot. Now I'm gonna take my vise here and squish this piston back in, and it's probably gonna squirt out some, oh shit, there it goes. Actually, let's see if I can just squeeze it with my hand. I don't know if that's gonna work. Anyway, I'm gonna squeeze it, and then I'm gonna keep the vise on it, hook it back up, and pump the brakes a few times in order to pop the other one out. Squeeze one side, pump the brakes, and then the other side will just keep coming out, pop out eventually. Alright, here's my setup. Got my vise, squeeze that in there. Now this side's gonna come out. And they say it comes out with a lot of force, but, and they said put a block of wood in there, but if you put a block of wood in there, it might get trapped, and then you're real screwed, because you can't squeeze it back out, but you also can't pull your block of wood out. So I'm just gonna put a little cloth right here, so if it comes flying out, it won't hurt the piston too much, hopefully. But on the other side it didn't, it was just fine. But it is going to, once it comes out, there's gonna be some brake fluid that comes out of there. From behind the piston, so here we go. There it is. Didn't even have to turn on the car. Just pump the brakes, not too far. They always say if you don't have any pressure, like we don't right now, if you put the brake pedal all the way to the floor, it's bad for it. Injure the master cylinder somehow. I don't understand that, but whatever. And so there's our piston, and should be able to pull it out now. Yeah, there it goes. Anyway, that'll come out, and there's your brake fluid. And I gotta undo this thing and plug it back up. We're gonna leak all the fluid. I probably should have mentioned before that last one, be sure to pop this thing off and put some more fluid in your brake fluid. Don't let it get too low, even though you're probably gonna want to bleed the whole system after doing this anyway. I mean, it's been a while. I need new brake fluid, but yeah, don't let that get too low, because you're gonna be pumping a lot of it out. Probably should watch that from the very beginning of this whole process. Alright, now I'm gonna take some of this grease. I'm probably done for the day. I'm out here in my apartment complex, and so I'm gonna take some of this grease, put it on that bearing, and wrap it up, and put some rubber bands around it, because I'm probably not going to get back to this until tomorrow, and it rained a little bit last night. But we got some work to do inside. Ding!